Hello and welcome. Today is going to go over the AWS class or the AWS secret Santa. It's all about enumeration uh, on AWS, and what we're going to be looking for is what's going to be in here. But in order to explain that, I kind of have to go over a few concepts here. So this might be a bad one, but let's just move these guys. So let's call these guys IMA users or identity and access management. So think of this as a Active Directory service. Now, if you don't know Active Directory, I may go over that later a little bit. But what we're doing is, in the sense for a pen test or red team engagement, we're taking one of these users. We want to know what's in here, or we want to see if we can access this. This is a what's called an infrastructure as a service for Amazon EC2. So these are VMs that are kind of sitting out there. This is also a service that runs code. So that could be a PaaS, or platform as a service. Too, you can also test for these things, but we're testing these here to see what access that we have. But for the lab, what we're doing is we're getting this to here, and we're going to do that through command line. So let me stop sharing my screen. But I wanted to open up with that so that way you have an understanding of we're going from IMA enumeration to what is in your S3 bucket. And then I'll let me research that to explain AWS bucket. And we'll just do what Gemini says here. Well, you haven't even that. We'll just do what in layman's terms. And so basically, it's a container for storing data objects within AWS's cloud services. So it's called a simple storage service or S3. So we could be finding things that are inside that S3 buckets like passwords or so. So that's why we're interested in it. But the rest is pretty much for this lab is just how to use the command line for it. But again, we're gonna do that through command line, but what we want is to get to what's inside the S3 buckets for this. So we'll get started with the first question. So this was pretty self-explanatory. We want to know users, caller, oops. All right, our account is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, 12. Copy that. Boop, boop. All right. This just goes over what an IMA means, and again, it's identity and access management. So think of it as a user on Active Directory. And again, if you don't know Active Directory, I'll go over it a little bit later on the basics. If you're very new to IT, if you're not, you probably already know where this is going. But to answer this one, this is going to be policy because you're going to set a policy for the user. So in Active Directory, there's what's called a GPO, and so in the cloud, it does the same thing, but they assign policies to a user or a group or a GPO in some cases. But that's in the Active Directory environment. We're thinking of cloud services in the sense. All right, go to the next one. All right, list the users. So while we're enumerating for users, which is Sir Bane, it's kind of the same thought process of um, who has it, who can I compromise, and this is one of those ways to compromise it. And I believe, skip down to the answer. What policies assigned to Sir Bane? We're gonna do this command. AMI list user user policies. Yes, user sir dot caret bane. And that is his policy name, sir caret bane. Caret bane policy. Do that. All right. So I may open a new terminal for this part, and then the other part, I'm just going to straight to the answer, but I'll talk about how to get there while you're looking for it. So first things first, we need to run that because now we want to know what kind of roles they have. Do they have full access, limited access? What do they have? All right. So in this case, they have a role name called Bucket Master. So they probably take care of the S3 buckets like I shown. Oh, exit out of this terminal. Just cancel. Open another one. Now tab. There we go. Then we'll look at the answer. What is the list above? It kind of gives it here, so we'll kind of skip that part. So if we ran this command, this is what it gives. And so I see list all buckets, I see list bucket, and then I see get objects. And the answer was, or the question was, apart from the get object or list bucket, what other actions can be taken or the bucket master role? This is going to be list all buckets. But if you follow along and run that command, you should get the same answer. Now, this is where it's going to get very important. You have to, I'm not sure if this is correct, but you have to run this command. Um, sorry, not this one. These ones to do this next. If not, you're not going to get the flag. So, STS, assume, roll, and I'm doing this so I can just copy paste. The answer is a little bit better because sometimes in try hack me, copy and paste isn't always the best. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 79, 0, 12. Roll bucket master. One second. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Roll. All right. So now we can just copy these because we have to export these keys through. Or US access key D. Just making sure I got the right access key. And now we're gonna copy this guy. Export AWS session. All right. Um, in this case, we're gonna get the flag first, and then we'll show how. But for first, before we enumerate, we want to look for the bucket. And so if we do this, AWS S3, because now we're looking into the API. We have access to that key, and now with that user, and now we're going to check out the buckets, what's listed in that directory. So there's three. Now we're going to run this one first because when you run this one, it kind of stops everything. And then I have to redo the whole export, and I don't want to do that. Well, let's argument's sake, you went in and then you found whatever, there's this cloud password text list, and you want to grab that. So we'll do AWS S3 API list objects bucket Easter. Secrets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa, 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 whoa. 5. There we go. Key, cloud, password, text, cloud, text. Oh, I went wrong. Now we want to get. Need to get the command. That's my bad. Get. Weird. I didn't do that. AWS S3 API get object. Get okay. All right. There we go. All right, and then we're gonna do the other one for sake of learning before we get to the flag. List Easter E area secrets 3145. So, well, we have groceries and we have pull out cloud password, and we're gonna get after this one. So this could be account, this could be whatever, but this is basically listed in a bucket, an S3 bucket. So no different than kind of like a file directory, but on the cloud. But here we need to get access to the rest of this, and then just kept going up, finding this enumeration, and then yeah, that was pretty much it. So if you open up another tab, OS, and there's the flag. And that's pretty much it for this. Like it's beginning of this wouldn't help if I didn't explain the first. If you already know about the cloud and you already know how to use AWS, it's pretty quick. And yeah, but yeah, the rest of it's pretty much nothing else to really do it. Yeah. Other than that, we'll do it for this one. Thank you for watching.